Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Narayanam Gurum Vande Saranyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gauramanovistam Purnam Radhadasyam Pradayakam Rupanugacharya Varyam Rupa Manjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Bandhavam Yugacharya Narayan Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Twise Namaha Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Ismirahasar Murali Manohara Viradhikara Sikamam Kripanide Sapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vrindai Tulasi Devyai Priyai Keshavase Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramu Ramo Ramo Hare Hare. So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramaradatama Shri Guru Pada Padma Nita Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribrajaka Charya Shtutara Sata Srimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Shila Gurudeva, and to my most worshipable Shikshan Sannyasa Guru Nita Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribrajaka Charya Ashtutara Sata Srimad Shila Bhakti Vigyana Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to all Shirupanva Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. So by the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudeva and all Mahabhagavatas Acharyas, we are able to assemble here one more time. So to continue with Sri Ramananda Samvada, offering the results of one's activities to Krishna means Krishna Samarpana, Krishna Karmarpana. Prabhu kohe eho bahya age kohoar, Rai kohe Krishna Karmarpana Sarva Sadhyasar. Sriman Mahaprabhu said, what you have just said is external. Please tell me something more than this. Shri Ramananda replied, to completely offer the results of one's activities to Shri Krishna is the essence of all perfection. So just let us little bit remind what we have read last time. What was the first question and the first answer given by Mahaprabhu and Rai Ramananda? Mahaprabhu asked, what is our sadhyasar? What's the essence of our goal of life? And Rai Ramananda, he replied, Varnashram macharavata purushena parapumam Vishnur aradate panta nanyat tattusha karanam. To follow very nicely, completely, perfectly the Varnashram system, that is very pleasing to Lord Vishnu. So that is the essence of our lives. Now Mahaprabhu is telling to Ramananda, right, this is external. Eho bahya. Bahya means external. Age kohoar. Kahar means now speak further, more, but little further. Age means further. So then Ramananda write, okay, then to offer the fruits of or the results of your activities to Krishna. This is the essence of all perfections. Because you may follow the Varnashram system very nicely, but you may not be offering the results of your activities to Krishna or to Vishnu or to Narayan or to Ram, no matter. So now he's a little bit adjusting that. It's okay. Varnashram is good, but must be done with Krishna Karmarpana. Means offering your karma, your activities. Karma arpana, offering your karma to Krishna. Krishna Karmarpana. Okay? So this is the essence of all perfection. So let's see the commentary of Srila Gurudev. By declaring this as external, Sriman Mahaprabhu intended to convey that, yes, by following the system of Varnashram Dharma, Sri Vishnu is pleased, but only partially so. Varnashram is not directly related to the constitutional nature of the jiva as a servant of Shri Krishna, nor is it devotional practice composed entirely of the 9 limbs of bhakti performed for the pleasure of the Lord, means Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. There are 3 types of bhakti, right? One is Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, another one is Sangha Siddha Bhakti, and the other one is Aropa Siddha Bhakti. Swarupa Siddha Bhakti means the activities, the limbs of bhakti, which are exclusively performed for the pleasure of Krishna. That is called Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. Aropa Siddha Bhakti. Arop means imposition. Means something which looks like but is not. A type of illusion. So Aropa Siddha Bhakti means those devotional activities which looks like Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, but in fact are being performed for the satisfaction of the sadhaka itself. Or the sadhaka himself. Okay? So this is called Aropa Siddha Bhakti. Looks like very nice. For example, the Mayavadis. Mayavadis, they also worship deities of Radha and Krishna. They chant Mahamantra. They perform all the limbs of bhakti. But what is their intention? Is to achieve the Brahma, the consciousness of Brahma, and then to afterwards give up bhakti and just be, immersed or fused. I'm missing the word, like merging, merging in the Brahma. So this is Aropa Siddha Bhakti. And so many other types of activities and people who are misusing bhakti for a very selfish purpose. And then we have Sangha Siddha Bhakti. Sangha Siddha Bhakti is divided in 2. Sangha Siddha Bhakti basically means those activities which are not directly bhakti, but they are supportive to bhakti. For example, brahmacharya, cleanliness, honesty, organization, purity, whatever, these are not directly bhakti, but without these activities, you cannot perform bhakti. So this is called Sangha. Sangha means associated, something which is associated with the perfection of bhakti, but is not directly bhakti. Or in another situation, Sangha Siddha Bhakti means when, for example, one person goes to a program of the devotees. He's attending some festival. And then he's sitting there. He does not have any idea what is going on. He's being invited by someone to just go. So he's sitting there and he's taking part of the festival. He's a little bit chanting, he's dancing, he's, taking prasadam. If someone comes from outside and he looks into that festival, his impression will be, oh, all devotees of Krishna are together there, doing bhakti, performing bhakti. So this person was included as a devotee, but he's not actually a devotee. So this is called Sangha Siddha Bhakti as well. Okay? So this is as Srila Gurudev used to explain. Okay? So just to make sure you understand what was mentioned here as Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. Means Srila Gurudev now explaining that although following Varnashram Dharma, it's pleasing to Vishnu. It's not completely, entirely satisfying. Why? Because it may be so much selfish, um, um, motivations by the performance of Varnashram Dharma. Okay, so let us continue here. Uttama Bhakti, or topmost devotional service, is that bhakti which sets the pleasure of Shri Krishna as the goal, and in which the 9 processes of devotional service, especially hearing and chanting, are executed. By the mercy of Bhagavan, that Uttama Bhakti thus attains oneness, or qualitatively equality, tadatmya, with the special function of Bhagavan's internal potency. Even when the sadhaka finally attains perfection and achieves service to Bhagavan in his eternal pastimes in the spiritual realm, the activities of hearing and chanting do not subside. Rather, they become even more supremely relishable and nearly desirable. So it means pure bhakti, Shuddha bhakti, or Vishuddha bhakti. It is those activities which would never become useless. They will never become outdated or unnecessary. Whatever we are practicing now, we should continue practice in our perfectional stage. We will never give up a single limb of bhakti if we are performing Uttama bhakti, okay, or Shuddha bhakti. Different from others like Mayavadis, I told, or Karmis, they're just using bhakti as a mean, as a vehicle for them to achieve their desired goal, which is different than bhakti itself. But for us, bhakti is the process and bhakti is the goal. It's the same thing, okay? That's one of the main differences. Where I left up. This state and desire are in both the devotee and Bhagavan. Indeed, they both realize ecstasy. To the liberated souls, this ecstasy is highly desirable, as it is their most treasured object and their ultimate goal. Here, the term karma refers to the activities mentioned in the Smriti and other scriptures that are performed on the basis of the natural inclination of the present body. The pursuance of Varnashram Dharma is Sakama Karma, performing acts in accordance with the scriptural injunctions to fulfill one's own material desires. Sakama. Sakama means to fulfill your desires, okay? Offering the fruits of one's activities to Bhagavan is therefore superior to this. Because somehow or other you are acknowledging that, okay, the ultimate relisher of these fruits is God. So I'm going to offer to him. So that is a little bit better than what was before the first answer. Offering the fruits of one's activities to Bhagavan is therefore superior to this. It is stated in the in the Bhagavad Gita 3.9. Yagyarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma kunteya mukta sangha samachara. O son of Kunti, apart from offering the fruits of one's selfless activities, nishkama karma, to Sri Vishnu, other forms of karma are simply a cause of bondage. Therefore, remaining free from the desire to enjoy the fruits of your labor, you should perform all activities with Sri Vishnu as the goal. Okay, so this is karma yoga. Okay, basically what he's describing, this is karma yoga. To do nishkama karma or nishkama bhakti. Okay, nish means without selfish desires, without selfish motivations. Whatever karma is performed for the pleasure of Sri Hari is called yagya, sacrifice. Any other activity is the cause of bondage in this world. Bhagavad Gita 2:51 further states, Karmajam buddhi yuktahi phalam taktva manishina janma bandha vinirmukta padam gachanti anamayam. Sages who perform buddhi yoga devotional service endowed with knowledge of Shri Krishna. Renounce the fruits of action in the material world. They become liberated from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries. Performing karma while free from attachment completely eradicates the fear of all bondage. Bhagavad Gita discusses this topic in the section on Karma Yoga. Shri Krishna himself says, Shubha Shubha Phalerevam Mokshase Karma Bandhane Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mam Upashasi. 9.28. Krishna says, O Arjuna, in this way you will be freed from all bondage caused by the fruit of good and evil deeds. And by the yoga of renouncing the fruits of action, you will be a unique soul, even amongst liberated persons, and you will come to me. So now Krishna says that by performing karma yoga, you can achieve perfection. Somehow you can come to him. Our Gauriya Goswamis have stated unequivocally that we should never offer any sinful activity or low-class activity to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. One should perform bhakti by offering one's very self and abandon the mentality of being the enjoyer and the doer, as the next verse says. Shravanam kirtanam dhyanam padasevanam archanam vandanam swarpanam sakyam sarvam dasya prachistitam. This is from Sri Hari Bhakti Kalpa Latika 10.3. The devotional processes of hearing about the Lord, glorifying him, remembering him, serving his lotus feet, worshipping him, offering obeisances to him, surrendering everything to him, and befriending him, all rest on service to him. It's very similar to the verse spoken by Prahlada Maharaj, of the 9 limbs of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada, Sevanam, Archanam, Dansam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani Vedanam. So now Gurudev is counting all these processes as something which we can offer to Krishna. Because it's very easy to say, just offer the results of all your activities. But if that is a bad activity, then what to do? If it is sinful activity or any undesirable activity, should you offer to Krishna then? No. So that must be clarified. Otherwise, the common people, they will smoke ganja, they will drink wine, they will do all nonsense things, and they offer to Krishna, and they are doing that. So for the devotees, it has to be very clear. Only those activities which are favorable to Krishna. Not all results of your activities. This verse describes Dasya Bhav, in which the devotee feels, I am a servant of the Lord. When one becomes a servant, nothing remains his own, not his body, his intelligence, his senses, his speech, his heart, his religion, his desires, his wealth, or his actions. One cannot even say, I am performing austerities, or I am performing bhakti, because the consciousness that I am the doer also disappears. The first stage of bhakti is Atma Samarpana, or self-surrender. This is a very complex subject. I wish we would have another lecture only to explain this process of understanding that who is the doer, I'm not the doer, and also the first stage of bhakti is Atma Samarpana. There is so many things to say about all these things. I'll try to be very brief and more like specific. Regarding the Atma Samarpana or Atmani Vedanam, this, as we describe the 6 symptoms of Sharanagati. Okay, before we go to Bhakti, we have to come to Sharanagati, because Sharanagati is the doorway of Bhakti. Sharanagati means surrendering. Offering your own self completely. But there are stages for that. And what are they? Anukulyasa sankalpa, pratikulyasa vivarjanam, rakshishati vishwasa gopritivaranam tata atmanikshepa karpanya sadvida sharanagati. Means at first I have to perform anukulyasa sankalpa. Means accept only those things which are favorable for my bhakti. This is the beginning of sharanagati, okay? Only accept what is favorable for my bhakti. Second, pratikulyasa varjanam means to reject what is unfavorable. Then, rakshishatitti vishwaso means I have to believe that Krishna is my maintainer. And then, gopritya varanam, I have to believe that Krishna is my protector. And then, karpanya means humility. I have to develop humility. And then atmanivedanam, I have to surrender completely. Only when you come to the point of atmanivedanam, then bhakti starts. Okay, so this is the connecting verse which goes from sharanagati to bhakti itself. When you are just selecting what is favorable or unfavorable, this is only related to you. When you believe Krishna is your protector, this is only related to you. When you want to be humble or you need to be humble, is only related to you. But when it comes to Atmanivedan, the process of offering your own self to Krishna, this is already bhakti. Understand? So this is the so therefore Gurudev is saying here, the first stage of bhakti is Atma Samarpanam, or self-surrender. And then of course we can understand that from another perspective, is surrender to whom? To Guru. The actual beginning of bhakti is Guru Padashray. Bhakti begins with Guru Padashray, means taking shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. So Atma Samarpanam, not to Krishna, but to Guru. Is also very, very important to make clear. You cannot surrender to Krishna directly. It's not possible. So that surrender will be through Guru first, because bhakti to Krishna will be first applied to Guru in your relationship with Guru. Everything that you're supposed to apply to Krishna, you have to first apply to Guru. And then, as Srila Gurudev used to say, the bona fide spiritual master, he will take all attachment that you have given to him and he will transfer that to Krishna. That is the duty of a bona fide spiritual master. Not to keep your attachment for him, but to collect your attachment for him and make it very strong and then transfer to Krishna, like a transplant. Okay, so this is the basic understanding. And to think that I am not the doer, that I am not performing bhakti. This is also very, very subtle and very difficult thing to understand. It's still a cause of great debates among the Vaishnava communities. So, but basically, only by Krishna's mercy everything is possible. Only by Krishna's mercy I can perform bhakti. Only by Guru's mercy I am performing bhakti. Guru is using me on the service of Krishna. I am like an instrument in the hands of Guru. So am I doing anything, or Gurudev is doing? Who is actually empowering me to serve Krishna? That is Gurudev. For example, when you are doing archana and you are going to offer bhoga, what should be your state of consciousness at that time? I am just assisting Gurudev. Gurudev is offering actually. I am just assisting him. He's doing that through me. I have no relation with Krishna. How can I offer this bhoga to Krishna? So I'm not the doer. In that sense, we can see. So let us move on. When we feel that all of our desires have been fulfilled by worshipping Sri Vishnu, we may conclude that Bhagavan Vishnu is pleased with us. But really, this is not the case at all. It's a very, very important thing, because many people, they are performing bhakti with the intention to fulfill their desires. And then if they will have their desire fulfilled, means God is happy with them. And if they're not having their desires fulfilled, means they have no faith more for God. So God is a supplier. God is a servant, actually, in their mentality. No? So they want to bargain with God, do business with God. God is there to serve them and fulfill all their desires for material enjoyment. Oh, Jesus has operated in my life. I have now a nice car. I have so much money, so many things. This is Jesus' mercy to me. This is God's mercy to me. This is bhakti? No. This is business. So God is not here to supply all our needs or our material enjoyments. And if I have a very comfortable life, oh, God's blessed to me. No, that's not how should be our mentality. But we see mostly all around people having this mentality towards God. So therefore, Mahaprabhu considered offering the fruits of one's action to be an external conception. Again, because this method of worship is not inherently pleasing to Bhagavan. He is only superficially pleased with the devotee for the sake of that devotee's happiness. Such a worshipper considers the earth, the heavenly planets, and other such places to be related to him. This conception has no connection whatsoever with Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, or the 9 limbs of devotional service performed to achieve one's perfect spiritual body. Some who follow Varnashram Dharma consider their austerities to be their own. Some consider their mother to be their own. Some their father, and some consider everything they have to be their personal property. For example, once there was a Brahmana who sat beneath a tree performing austerities. A pigeon perching on the upper branches passed a stool upon him, which broke the Brahmana's meditation. He became so angry that by his glance he burnt the pigeon to ashes. By this, he believed that his austerity had achieved perfection. So impressed was he that he became quite haughty and was not slightly concerned about pleasing Bhagavan. Bhagavan fulfills the desires of such a devotee, yet remains unattached to him. So he is very good to clarify. Whatever anyone can get, somehow or other, Krishna is providing that. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he gives everything through the demigods. The demigods, they could never fulfill any desire unless Krishna is actually fulfilling through them. So you may ask things to God, and God may give, but doesn't mean that he's happy with you or he has an attachment for you or vice versa. Okay? A sadhaka who, by the special grace of Shri Krishna, performs Uttama Bhakti or activities exclusively for the pleasure of Shri Krishna, desires nothing, nor is there anything more that Shri Krishna possesses that is worthy to be given to him. Thus, he sells himself to such a sadhaka. The sadhana of following Varnashram Dharma pleases Sri Vishnu only fractionally. For this reason, it is called external. Srila Saraswati Prabhupada says that the bodily achievements of those who follow Varnashram Dharma are based on the false egoism arising from the bodily conceptions of I and mine, and are thus confined to this universe. They worship God, they want to go for Swargalok, they want to increase their wealth, they want to liberate their forefathers. So many things they do as bhakti to Vishnu, to Narayana, to Krishna, but with so many type of material motivation or selfish motivations. Bhakti, on the other hand, is beyond the material universe. Bhagavan Sri Gaur Hari regards the external realization of those persons residing outside Vaikuntha or Goloka Dham as fit to be rejected, and he does not accord any special independent recognition to the worship of Vishnu by the Varnashrama method. Jnanis direct their worship toward the formless aspect of Bhagavan, Nirvishesh, and Karmis, the reward-seeking workers, revere his variegated forms, Savishesh. Both worship Sri Vishnu with some material intent. So either Karmis or Jnanis, they have the same material motivations in their worship. According to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, to offer the results of one's action to Bhagavan Shri Krishna is the very essence of perfection when compared to the ordinary Varnashrama system. Nirvishesha Tattvavadis actually remain absolved in karma, which is full of variety or savishesh. Even though it appears that they are engaged in bhakti, factually it is not so at all. Everything they offer is related to the body. Such offerings bear no relation to the soul, and so Mahaprabhu calls the offering itself external. Undertakings such as constructing hospitals and dharmashalas, means guest house for pilgrims, and digging wells may be offered to Shri Krishna, but they are external and are thus an obstruction to the soul's relationship with Bhagavan. Consequently, one's devotional service is blemished with undesirable habits. I give one very simple example. The people, they may build one guest house or their own home, and they make one small mandir inside. In that mandir, they will put the deity of Vishnu or of Krishna or Ram, Narayan, etc. So they're offering that. Now it became Krishna's house or Krishna's place. But their real motivation was not to please Krishna with that, but to please themselves. But still, they're offering to Krishna. They're not fully materialistic people, but their bhakti is mixed with some type of selfish interests. Okay? For example, they will do charity. They will perform a lot of social work, hoping that God will be happy with them, hoping that they're doing very good for the society. That very old saying, which service to man is service to God. But this is karmic. This is not bhakti. So that's the difference. Definitely God, he'll be happy, but not fully happy with your charitable work. But somehow he'll be happy, definitely. So Raghunatha Dasa Goswami has said, Na dharmam shruti gana niruktam kila kuru brajarada Krishna prachura paricharyam yahatanu. Shimana Shiksha, verse 2. O my dear mind, please do not perform either the dharma or adharma, religion or irreligion, prescribed in the Shrutis. Rather, you should perform profuse loving service to the divine couple, Sri Radha Krishna. The Shrutis have ascertained them to be the highest principle of worship and the supreme absolute truth. And that is why most of the people in India and around the world, but in India mostly, they don't understand the practice of Gauriya Math. They think that Gauriya Math are very selfish. They think the opposite. We think they are selfish, and they think we are selfish in a different way. They think we are selfish because we never perform social, charity or service like. And we think they are selfish because whatever they want from God is for their benefit. So why are we not doing this type of work, opening hospitals and food for life and so many things? Why? Because there is already enough people doing that, and there is no one doing what we can really do. That is to show what is pure bhakti and also change the hearts of the people, forever. Explain to them what's the highest goal, what's the supreme goal. And for that, and to achieve that, you need a strong sadhana. So we have no time. We have no time, literally, to take care of like the whole humanity, all the problems of humanity, instead of doing our sadhana. And this is one type of selfishness, but is a very necessary selfishness, because at some point, at some stage of life, you should not more care about the material world, no matter what. And you should try to deliver yourself. And that's what Krishna wants. Krishna does not want everyone in this material world forever helping each other, feeding and and curing and healing. No, that's not what Krishna wants. Krishna wants us to go back to Goloka Vrindavan. And for that, you have to focus on your sadhana and do it very seriously and deeply. So then how can you engage your time for social activities? It's impossible. You cannot, adjust both things. Therefore, in Gaudiya Math, we are totally focused on our spiritual deliverance. How to remove people from the material world, not to keep people very nice, healthy, and and fed in Maya. We don't want that. We rather would like to see people suffering in Maya, so they can understand that is not a good place to stay. This material world is not a good place to stay. So just do your bhajan. But the more you relieve the people suffering, the more they will engage in enjoyment of this material world, and they will forget about God. That's the problem of doing charity. You could save the whole world, like a famine, the whole world housing problems. You could finish with all of this. What would happen? No one would engage in God's worship because of that. They would enjoy more, and enjoy more. Somehow or other, suffering makes you call for God. No? When material life is destroyed, then only religion is remaining. And then you say, yes, this material world is not a place for me. I am a soul. I have to go back to home, back to Godhead. So let me do something. So this place is not meant to be a paradise, and it will never be a paradise. Paradise, there is only one. This is Goloka Vrindavan, Vaikuntha Dham. We have so many new age people trying to make this earth a paradise. That's not possible. Forget about it. Stop fighting for anything external. Just do your bhajan. Just focus. You have such short time. Life goes very quick. Very quick. And then when you become old, what you're going to find out? The road remains the same, with the same problems, with the same things, but you remain also the same, without bhakti, without practice. So what is more worthy of our endeavor? Gurudev wants that from us. Krishna expects that from us. Not to be trying to save the world. Who is going to destroy this material world? Krishna himself. So who am I to save the world if Krishna wants to destroy the material world? This, what to say, global warming things, this and that, animal extinctions. What can we do? These things are there. And if you read in Srimad Bhagavatam, what are the symptoms of Kali Yuga? Even worse things will come. More worse things will come. So what can you do? Can you change the course of Krishna's creation? Can you avoid that? It's impossible. Can you avoid the presence of the demons in the material world? You cannot do it. You know, there is a pastime when the historical, I mean to say pastime, when the last big fight, a bigger fight between the demons and the demigods. The demigods, they were about to kill all the demons and destroy forever all of them. Narada Muni, he came into that place, and he stopped the war, and he stopped the demigods from killing all the demons. And he said, it's necessary to have demons in this material world. We cannot destroy them, because people, they have bad karma. Somehow or other, they have to pay this. And the demons are like vehicle for people's bad karmas, receiving punishment and many things. So this is the nature of this material world. We cannot change it. But only one thing we can change. It's our life, our destination. Just focus in your spiritual life. That's it. Life goes very fast. I just turned 40. I never imagined I would turn 40 one day. I always wanted to be young forever, you know, like Peter Pan, you know, in the Neverland. But it's not possible. Time comes, age comes. What is the most amazing thing in the world is that everyone thinks they will never die. But it's going to happen to everyone, and it goes like that. Perhaps here there are devotees even older than me. They can even say 40 is nothing. Very soon 50 will come, and 60 will come, 70 will come, and then bus, finish. And what I did? Oh, I just gave food to poor people. I gave, then what? You're not going to please Krishna by that. But if we really focus in our spiritual life, if we follow this Kartik Vrata very seriously, very nicely, if we read the books our Goswamis gave, if we sing the songs that they gave, then we have some hope. We have some hope, not only for future, but for present. Because bhakti is such a process that it is always beneficial during and also after perfection. Before perfection and after perfection. So anyway, in this way, Raghunath Das Goswami, he's saying, rather you should perform profuse loving service to the divine couple Shri Radha and Krishna. Profuse. The Shrutis have ascertained them to be the highest principle of worship and the supreme absolute truth. So Raghunath Das Goswami said, don't engage in dharma or adharma, not to do good things or bad things in the material realm. Just do bhakti. Bhakti is not good or bad. Bhakti is nirguna. Bhakti is beyond what is good or bad. Beyond. Okay? So now comes the most important verse to explain Krishna Karmarpanam. That is from Bhagavad Gita 9:27. Yat karoshi yadajnasi yajuhoshi dadasyat yat tatasasi konteya tat kurushamadharpanam. Shri Krishna says to Arjun, O son of Kunti, whatever activities you perform, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice and give in charity, and whatever austerities you perform should be done as an offering to me. All endeavors should be to please me alone. All endeavors should be to please me alone. So this is the basics of Karma Yoga. This is the definition of Karma Yoga Shloka. This is the famous one. So when you define this second question of Mahaprabhu, you can answer with this shloka. Okay? First one, that one I told, Varnashram Macharavata, Purushena Parapuma. And then the second will be this one. So first answer is Varnashram Dharma, to follow Varnashram Dharma. And that is the verse. Second question, Krishna Karmarpana, offering the fruits of your activities to Krishna. And then you quote this verse as an evidence. Okay? It's very simple. Now the purport of Srila Gurudev. The term Madharpanam speaks here of the independent Savishesha Tattva, the absolute truth possessed of all transcendental attributes without a touch of the material. Savishesha means with varieties, okay? Nirvishesha means without varieties, just to make clear. Its use refutes the notion that the Supreme is nirvishesha, or devoid of form or other transcendental or characteristics. This nishkama karma process, in which one performs one's prescribed duties and offers the results to Bhagavan, with no desire to enjoy the fruits, is also known as Jnana Mishra Bhakti, devotion mixed with the desire for liberation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that in this verse, Bhagavan suggests the practice of offering everything to the Lord, Bhagavadarpita Bhakti, for those who denounce devotion performed with personal interest, Sakama Bhakti, yet who are unable to abandon karma and jnana completely, and who do not have the qualification to perform one-pointed devotion, Ananya Bhakti. So, Krishna will give to everyone whatever they can do. It's very important to understand. In Bhagavad Gita is about that. In Bhagavad Gita is Krishna saying, if you cannot do highest, then you do little lower. Then you do little lower like that. If you cannot perform bhakti, then you do jnana. If you cannot do jnana, then you do yoga. If you cannot do yoga, then you do karma, like that. So here, Gurudev is explaining like that. So that this type of devotion with a personal interest, Sakama Bhakti, it is somehow recommended for those who are still unable to perform Shuddha Niskama Karma Yoga or Shuddha Bhakti, the Bhakti which is devoid of any self-interest. So if you cannot do the perfect one, at least you do something. That is the main explanation here, okay? This practice can hardly be called Shuddha Nishkama Karma Yoga, as this name is awarded only to action that is performed according to the injunctions of the scriptures as an offering to Bhagavan. A person's ordinary eating and drinking habits may not be included in this. Again, he's saying that not everything can be offered. Specific things only, which is prescribed by the scriptures itself. Those unable to understand the process of exclusive Ananya Bhajan are instructed to offer all their activities, like eating and drinking, means offering bhoga. Because you're not eating meat, you're not eating onion, garlic, eggs, and things like that. Then you can offer whatever you eat, because you already are eating what is suitable to be offered. In much the same way, the worship of the universal form of Bhagavan is recommended for those unable to properly conceive the established truths regarding the actual object of worship, namely Shri Krishna. So if he cannot recognize Krishna specifically as a person, then he can worship Bhagavan in general, like the universal form. For example, Christians, Jews, and others, they don't worship a specific person. They worship God in general. They don't know who is that God in person. They have no idea. They have never seen. They have never interacted with God. God never came and told, okay, I'm here. Look, I look like this. I speak like this. My name is such. I like this. I like that. No, they have no such type of intimacy. So therefore, they worship God in general. But this is still better than not doing anything. Thus, the performer of the activities is still the recipient of the fruit of action, which is indicated by the Atma Nepada form of the verb kurushva, meaning to perform. Furthermore, the verse makes no mention that this practice relates directly to Bhagavan. The practice of the ninefold process of devotional service known as Navada Bhakti begins when the sadhaka completely surrenders himself to Bhagavan Sri Vishnu. But here, by contrast, the activity is performed first and then offered to Bhagavan. For this reason, the type of devotion being discussed is not to be equated with Bhakti Yoga. Indeed, it is not even considered one of the limbs of Bhakti Yoga. Very, very important point. What Gurudev is saying. One thing is you do any activity and offer those fruits to Krishna. But those activities are not itself bhakti. So those who are performing Bhakti Yoga, their activities are itself bhakti, are themselves bhakti, not something else to be offered. The activity and the offering itself is bhakti. So that's the difference. So therefore, those who perform karma yoga, although they are doing something to God, it cannot be called devotion. That's the main point Gurudev is making very clear. Cannot be called devotion because the activity itself is not devotion. As I mentioned before, building a dharmashala or a hospital, is it any limb of bhakti? No. But still you can offer to God, no problem. You can make God's house inside, okay. But that itself is not considered to be devotion. But for us, when we make a temple to put the deity, it is already automatically both activities bhakti. The temple itself and the worshipping of God inside. Okay? So in this way, this second question now is over, okay? Next, third question, we will continue next time. This is about renouncing occupational duties or swadharma tyaga. This is the third question. So we're going to stop here and continue next time. Hare Krishna.